There's a tree that can kill cancer, not metaphorically, not symbolically, actually kill it. And for decades, we had no idea it was there, standing in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, quietly producing one of the most powerful weapons we've ever found against one of humanity's oldest enemies. Before we get started, check out the link in the description to download our ebook. The tree is called the Pacific Yew. For most of human history, it was considered worthless. Loggers called it a trash tree. It grows slowly, twists as it ages, and its wood is too irregular for lumber. But inside its bark, this forgotten tree was making something extraordinary. A molecule so complex, so perfectly designed to stop cancer cells in their tracks, that when scientists finally discovered it, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. This is the story of Paclitaxel, a chemical weapon that evolution spent millions of years perfecting. And it raises a question that sounds almost too simple. Why do trees make chemicals that kill cancer? The answer is going to take us deep into the hidden war that trees have been fighting since long before humans even existed. The year is 1962. The National Cancer Institute is desperate. They've been testing thousands of compounds from plants, hoping to find anything that might work against cancer. Most of them do nothing. Some are toxic in all the wrong ways. But then a botanist named Arthur Berkeley collects bark samples from a Pacific yew tree in Washington state and sends them to a lab. 2 years later, a researcher named Monroe Wall isolates something unusual. A compound that, in petri dishes, is stopping cancer cells from dividing, not slowing them down, stopping them completely. They call it Taxol, later renamed Paclitaxel. And it works unlike anything they've seen before. But here's the problem. To get enough Paclitaxel for a single cancer patient's treatment, you need the bark from about 3 full-grown Pacific yew trees, and harvesting the bark kills the tree. Suddenly, this miracle drug has a dark side. To save lives, we have to destroy something that took a century to grow. Still, the results are undeniable. By the 1990s, Paclitaxel becomes one of the most important chemotherapy drugs in the world, especially for ovarian and breast cancer. It's saving thousands of lives. But no one's really asking the obvious question yet. Why was the tree making this in the first place? To understand that, we need to zoom in, way in to the level where cancer actually happens. Every cell in your body has a skeleton, not made of bone, but of protein. Tiny tubes called microtubules that give the cell its shape, help it move, and most importantly, help it divide. When a cell splits into two, those microtubules pull the chromosomes apart, so each new cell gets a complete set of DNA. It's precise, it's essential, and cancer cells do it constantly. That's what makes cancer so dangerous. Normal cells divide when they're supposed to, and stop when they're done. Cancer cells never stop. They divide and divide and divide, ignoring every signal to quit, building tumors, spreading through the body. Paclitaxel interrupts that process in the most elegant way imaginable. It doesn't destroy the microtubules, it freezes them. It locks them in place. Imagine trying to pull apart a zipper, but every single tooth is glued together. That's what Paclitaxel does. It binds to the microtubules and stabilizes them so completely that the cell can't divide. It just sits there, stuck in the middle of division, until eventually it gives up and dies. And because cancer cells divide so much more often than normal cells, they're hit the hardest. The drug doesn't care what type of cancer it is. It just stops the machinery of division itself. It's brutal, it's brilliant, and it works. But here's what's wild. The Pacific yew wasn't trying to cure cancer. It was trying to survive. Trees can't run. They can't hide. If a fungus infects them, if an insect bores into their bark, if a disease starts spreading through their roots, they have no choice but to stand there and take it. So over millions of years, they developed a different strategy: chemical warfare. Trees are chemists, world-class chemists. They produce thousands of compounds that we're only beginning to understand. Tannins that make their leaves taste terrible. Alkaloids that scramble the nervous systems of insects. Resins that gum up the mouthparts of beetles. And toxins. Lots and lots of toxins. Paclitaxel is one of those toxins. Scientists think the Pacific yew produces it to defend against fungi. Fungi, like cancer cells, divide rapidly. They spread, they invade, and Paclitaxel stops them cold, just like it stops cancer. The tree wasn't trying to save us. It was trying to kill the thing trying to kill it. This is the secret we keep forgetting. Every molecule in nature exists for a reason, not a human reason, an evolutionary reason. Trees aren't making medicine, they're making weapons. It just so happens that, sometimes, the thing killing a tree uses the same biological machinery as the thing killing us. And the Pacific yew isn't the only tree doing this. In the forests of southern China, there's a tree with an almost mocking name, Chemotherapy acuminata, the happy tree, and from its bark, scientists isolated a compound called Chemotherapy. Like Paclitaxel, it's a cancer killer, but it works differently. Instead of freezing microtubules, it attacks an enzyme called topoisomerase, which cancer cells need to copy their DNA. Block that enzyme, and the cancer cell can't replicate. It dies. Today, drugs based on camptothecin are used to treat colon cancer, ovarian cancer, and small cell lung cancer. Then there's birch bark. For centuries, people used it for everything from waterproofing canoes to folk remedies. But inside that white papery bark is a compound called betulinic acid, and researchers discovered it has a very specific talent. It can trigger apoptosis, which is the medical term for programmed cell death in melanoma cells, the deadliest form of skin cancer. Scientists are still figuring out how to turn it into a reliable drug, but the potential is staggering. And there are more. So many more. The rosy periwinkle from Madagascar gave us vincrestine and vinblastine, both used in chemotherapy. The mayapole plant produces podophyllitoxin, which led to the drug etoposide. Even the bark of the willow tree, which gave us aspirin, is now being studied for its anti-cancer properties. All of them started as weapons, defenses, chemical shields that plants built to survive in a world full of things trying to eat them, infect them, or outcompete them. We just happen to find them useful, too. But there's a cost. When Paclitaxel was first approved, demand exploded, and the only source was the Pacific yew. Thousands of trees were cut down. Entire populations started disappearing. Environmentalists sounded the alarm. If this kept up, we'd drive the tree to extinction while trying to cure cancer. That's when science stepped in with a solution. Chemists figured out how to synthesize Paclitaxel in the lab, not from scratch, that's still too complex, but from a precursor compound found in the needles of the European yew, which can be harvested without killing the tree. Later, researchers developed methods to produce it using plant cell cultures, growing the cells in bioreactors like brewing beer, but instead of alcohol, you get cancer medicine. Today, we don't need to cut down Pacific yews anymore. The drug is made sustainably, the tree is recovering, and scientists are applying the same techniques to other natural compounds, racing to unlock their secrets before we lose the forests they come from. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. We've barely scratched the surface. There are tens of thousands of plant species we've never studied, fungi we've never cataloged, ecosystems we're destroying faster than we can explore them, and somewhere in those forests there are molecules we haven't discovered yet, cures we don't know exist, chemistry that took evolution hundreds of millions of years to perfect, and we're burning it down. Trees don't care about us. They're not trying to heal us. They're not benevolent. They're just trying to survive, the same way every living thing is trying to survive. They build chemical defenses because the alternative is death. But in building those defenses, they've created a library, a vast ancient library of molecular solutions to problems. We're only now beginning to understand cancer, infection, pain, inflammation. Trees have been solving these problems for longer than humans have existed. Paclitaxel didn't come from a lab. It came from a forest, from a tree that no one valued, that loggers saw as trash, that was disappearing before anyone noticed what it could do. And it saved hundreds of thousands of lives, maybe millions. That's the thing about nature. It's not here to teach us lessons or hand us cures. It's indifferent. But if we pay attention, if we look closely enough, we find that the solutions we're desperately searching for are already out there, written in bark and leaves and roots, encoded in molecules we're only just learning to read. We don't need to invent new chemistry. We just need to stop destroying the chemistry that's already been invented. The forests are full of secrets. We've barely begun to listen. Thanks for watching, and remember, nature always knows more chemistry than we do.